Now, in the news today, new guidance for employers to make reasonable adjustments for menopausal women working for them, including wearing cooler clothes and having quiet rooms to relax in. So, Sunetra, what do you think? Should there be sort of allowances for menopausal women?
I'm confused here because we have spent countless years fighting for equality in the workplace with men. Women have been explaining that they can do the job just as well, they are competent, and we're nearer getting fair, equal pay, and then we come along and ask for extra allowances because we're women and we need something extra. And I just feel like the visuals on this don't look like... It's always weakening women's positions again, and I think it shouldn't be on the women to be asking for this. It should be on the workplaces in the first place. Why are we being made to feel like we need some extra help when actually that's not the place? We've been fighting for a long time to try and be seen. How many women do we know who they fall pregnant and their biggest fear is, I'm not going to be able to get the best jobs at work. I'm going to get overlooked. And this just sort of like echoes that.
Yes,
for me.
I know, but the thing is, do we feed into that and say, let's not talk about the menopause because, you know, we want to be, you know, we don't want to be treated any differently? Or do we take the other approach, which I think we have been taking over the last sort of 5 or 10 years, which is to say, look, the menopause is a fact of life. It's a physiological experience that most women go through. Some will sail through it. I was relatively lucky. Other people have real problems. In which case, if the workplace wants to keep talent, then they have to sort of grow up and say, yeah, this happens to women, sometimes it's difficult, and therefore we'll make reasonable adjustments, as we do for so many other things. Because, you know, we don't want women to feel that they have to hide a part of themselves. I mean, I was kind of lucky. You were quite lucky going through the menopause.
Quite lucky. Early 40s I went through it.
Yeah.
My sister Debbie went through quite early. She went through it at 38 and then she got really embarrassed if I told her. I said, oh, she came through her menopause. She goes, why do you keep telling everyone going through my menopause? I think she was embarrassed by it. But I was early 40s and I didn't even know what it was really because I was doing a show in the West End called Telstar and I had to wear a wig on it. And there was me and 11 actors in the show, and by the interval, I was just dripping with sweat. And I had a wig on. I looked like Alice Cooper by the end of the first, act. But my mum never spoke about it. I don't know if my mum went through the menopause, because I don't think in those days they spoke about it, or they didn't even know what the menopause was. They just thought they were getting old, and people.
And I think it is for women to help women in this situation, because I feel like the workplace, and let's talk about predominantly male workplaces, they may weaponise this. They may overlook women because these aren't positive things we're talking about. We're not saying it's a great feeling to be having a hot flush and I need 5 minutes, you know, whereas pregnancy is a joyous thing and it's scientifically proven that most women go through the same thing. Not every woman goes through the same menopausal issues. So what are we going to ask them to put in place that's similar for everyone to use?
That's not always true. With pregnancy, some women could go through extreme sickness. Some women go through real kind of skeletal problems, in which case, if they were in the workplace, it would be reasonable for them to say, well, I'm really sorry, but I'm really struggling with this. Can we make an adjustment? And surely we would. So, I mean, why wouldn't we with the menopause? I mean, Liv, given that we have been talking about it a lot more in the last 5 or 10 years, I mean, it's a way off for you, but how do you feel about that, approaching it? I mean, it's interesting that Linda said her sister was embarrassed by going through the menopause.
I feel lucky that when that time comes, I'm living in this time where education and conversation, and I think it's really awful to think of all the women before me who went through menopause where people didn't understand it, it wasn't diagnosed or called out correctly, treatment wasn't, you know, advanced enough. We all know that pharmaceuticals in terms of women's health is, you know, always needs catching up. And, you know, my mum went through it fairly early, and I remember I didn't know, and I think she didn't even know for a while the change we saw in her. And like you say, it's a very personal experience. Like, some women struggle emotionally, cognitively. Like, Lisa Snowdon talks about it beautifully. And I think, for me, it's just hoping that whatever workplace I would be in when that time comes, that, like you say, you're not going to lose someone who's valuable to that team, but you're going to support me through however that period of my life shows
this
itself.
should just... Exactly. This is exactly right. It should just be on the HR departments to get absolutely genned up on this, so that this is as easy to approach as it is with paternity leave and maternity leave and female issues that or mental health issues. It just shouldn't be a headline where women are asking for more allowances in the workplace. That's what I'm
Yeah, no, and I do get what you're
concerned
saying in
about.
that, because I think there is a certain section of the media who likes to sort of take menopause and say, you've got to do special things for these women. You know, the inference being, oh my God, here they come with another problem.
Yeah.
Whereas I think we've just got to own it and say, yeah, the menopause happens. Yeah, that's just part of life. And for some women, it can be really difficult, but they're hugely talented in the workplace. So make a few adjustments and everyone's happy.
Yeah.
You know, just go it that way.
Absolutely.
Well,